Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to the Super Mario Bros. Timeline, Episode 2. So if you did not watch the previous episode, I recommend you go back and do that, and then come back and watch this video in order to get the complete chronology of the full series. And also there's a few things I want to go over before I get into it. First off, I'm not trying to take credit for all of the ideas that I put forth in this timeline. My timeline was heavily based on a lot of other people's, and also I'm not claiming this to be the exact true chronology of the Mario series either. I'm merely suggesting this. So if you do find anything wrong, then make sure to let me know in the comments down below, or there is a website linked in the description and you can comment on that website as well. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into it. And also, if there is any kind of an element of this timeline that you do not understand, make sure to check out the website in the description, and there should be a button called Explanation of Timeline Elements, and that will show you what everything means if there's anything you don't understand. This timeline goes from top to bottom, so if you didn't watch the last episode, we got a timeline split right here that we never actually went over, because that leads off into page 2 and into episode 2, which we are on right now. And so in the previous video, we got to Yoshi's Island, and then there was a timeline split after that of whether Yoshi was successful or defeated in delivering Mario to his parents. Then if we come back down, there's another timeline split, and in the Yoshi's New Island game, you actually learn that Mario was delivered to the incorrect parents, and the stork actually has to return and take Mario back to the right parents. But in episode 1, we went over what would happen if the stork actually didn't return. But now we're going to go onto the timeline in which the stork actually does. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we get Yoshi's New Island. And then we get another timeline split right after this, and this is whether Yoshi is successful or whether he is defeated once again in delivering baby Mario to his parents. So if he is actually successful, we get the very first Super Mario Bros. Game, and then right after this we skip over Super Mario Bros. 2 and get to Super Mario Bros. 3, and we will go over Super Mario Bros. 2, but it takes place a little bit later in the timeline. And then a game called Mario the Juggler, and then we get into a few Yoshi games in which Yoshi is a pretty prominent role in this timeline, where Mario actually has a debt to pay to Yoshi for saving him when he was a child. So Yoshi's Safari is when Mario is riding on Yoshi, and it's a first-person shooter game actually. And then we get Super Mario World, in which his debt is now paid. And then right after this we get Mario Teaches Typing, and we know this takes place here because these are the only two games in which Mario actually has this yellow cape right here. Now that Mario is actually teaching people to type, and he's doing that on his own, and he has paid his debt to Yoshi, Yoshi actually goes on some of his own adventures in Yoshi's Woolly World and in Yoshi's Crafted World, and in between those we get Mario Teaches Typing too. So next we get Super Mario Bros. Wii and Super Mario Bros. U, and then we come back to Super Mario Bros. 2 and Super Mario Galaxy 2, and once again we skipped over a game, Super Mario Galaxy 1, and we will get to that later, and I'll explain that as well. So if we come back up to the top of here, if we go on the other timeline in which the hero is actually defeated, we get Yoshi's Island DS. And then right after this, we get the ending of the Infant Era and a new era. And then we get the book Super Mario Adventures and Super Mario 64. And then we start the Mario and Luigi games. So we get first Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, but then right after this, we actually get a merging of the timelines, and I'll explain what that means in a minute. So we actually get the Paper Mario timeline now, with Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, Super Paper Mario Sticker Star, Paper Mario Color Splash, and Paper Mario Origami King. But there is actually another Paper Mario game titled Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, in which Mario and Luigi stumble across a book and actually get sucked into it, into the Paper Mario world. And so this is what this merging means, is those two worlds are kind of merged into each other. So if we come back over here and just go on the main timeline once again, we get Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, and if we zoom in here, we can actually see that Mario and Luigi are partnering up with their past selves, so we know that this is a time travel game. which obviously is going to cause a timeline split. So this is whether the babies actually remain in the adult timeline or they are sent back to their original timelines. And so this is pretty similar to the timeline split in the Legend of Zelda timeline, which I will have a video about coming out very soon, so make sure to check that out as well. So if we first go on the adult timeline, what we get right here is Mario Clash for the Virtual Boy, and then the two SNES educational games, Mario is Missing and Mario's Time Machine. So once again, we get some time travel, which is going to cause a timeline split, but during the Mario's Time Machine game, we actually get Super Scope 6, in which we can see Mario flying around and is being chased by one of the Koopalings in the background of this game. So when he is time traveling, he actually travels to the time in which Super Scope 6 takes place and is seen flying in the background. Alright, next we have a timeline split again because of this Mario's Time Machine game. So this is whether when Mario goes back in time, if he decides to get an education and to become a doctor, or if he uses the timeline for his personal use and keeps it. Alright, so if we go on the becomes a doctor timeline, we get the Mario's Early Years, the educational game in which he is learning, and then once he becomes a doctor, we get Dr. Mario, and the rest of the Dr. Mario games, which I'm gonna speedrun. Dr. Mario 64, Dr. Mario Online RX, Dr. Mario Express, Dr. Luigi, Dr. Mario Miracle Cure, and Dr. Mario World. Alright, so coming up here, back over here, we get the other timeline in which he travels back in time once again, and we get kind of a repeat of these. We get the Mario Advance game. So this is Yoshi's Island or Super Mario Advance 3, and then we already get another timeline split of whether Yoshi is successful in delivering Mario to his parents or whether he is defeated. And then if he is defeated, we get the Super Mario Bros. Movie from 1993. Now, if you want to see the new Super Mario Bros. Movie from 2023, you'll have to go back and watch episode 1 if you haven't seen that already, and I'll go over that in that episode. So then right after this, we get kind of a paradox because of all of the time travel that has been going on. A paradox occurs and actually merges the world of the live action Super Mario Bros. And the animated TV shows of the Super Mario Bros. And so that gives us the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, which is half animated and half live action. And then we get the two other Super Mario TV shows, The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World. Alright, so if we go up to this other timeline, we get the Super Mario Advance series with Super Mario Advance, Super Mario World Advance 2, and Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3, and then Super Mario 64 DS. And if we come down once again, we get the Mario Party series, and once again this occurs within a paradox in which all of the characters are just brought together onto this one kind of world, because the paradoxes within the time travel just kind of morphs the world and the story and mixes it up, because the universe isn't really able to make the current world exist because of the paradoxes that are going on, if that makes any sense. So if we continue down here into the Mario Party timeline, and I'm going to speedrun these as well. Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3, Mario Party 4, Mario Party 5, Mario Party 6, Mario Party 7, Mario Party 8, Mario Party 9, Mario Party 10, Mario Party E, Mario Party Advance, Mario Party DS, Mario Party Island Tour, Mario Party Star Rush, Mario Party Top 100, Super Mario Party, Mario Party Superstars, and then we get a few more of these games that once again are the results of time paradoxes. We get Mario Pinball Land, Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix, and Hotel Mario. Alright, so we're gonna come all the way back over once again to this child timeline that takes place right after Mario and Luigi, Partners in Time, and we get the rest of the series, Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, and then Mario and Luigi Dream Team. And then once again, we're gonna go back to Super Mario Galaxy, the first one this time, and now I'm going to explain why it takes place here in a completely different timeline than this one and what this merging actually is. So at the end of both Super Mario Galaxy 1 and Super Mario Galaxy 2, the universe actually gets destroyed, but then the character Rosalina is able to restore it and recreate it, but in doing so has to merge these two worlds because that occurs in both games, and so both timelines actually bring forth the same result. So then next we get Alleyway, which actually occurs at the same time as both of the other two Mario Galaxy games, in which if we look up here, we see this weird glass stuff, which is actually building up in space, and Mario Mario, using this ship and this ball, has to kind of clear it out. So then we get Captain Toad Treasure Tracker and Super Mario 3D World and a Bowser's Fury. And then right after this we get the new Super Mario Bros. Wonder game and then Super Mario Run, and we know this takes place here because there is actually an update that added Wonder Flowers to the game, so we know it takes place right after Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Alright, so coming down, now we get a new era, and this is actually the era of creation, in which Mario becomes extremely powerful to the point where he's actually able to create matter, energy, and even life from nothingness. So there's a few theories as to why. Some people think it's because of the Wonder Flowers, or it could possibly be because of some of this weird stuff that's building up in the alleyway game in space. But it starts out with the Yoshi game. It's just titled Yoshi, in which Mario actually creates Yoshi eggs and creates new Yoshis, once again from nothingness. And then coming down we get the game Yoshi's Universal Gravitation, in which we find out that these Yoshis, or one of these Yoshis at least, is able to control gravity, so they are also extremely powerful beings. And then moving on we get Super Mario Maker and Super Mario Maker 2, in which Mario, as I mentioned earlier, is able to create matter and energy, creating all of these courses for himself to go through. But right before this we get the Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury game, but there's actually a timeline merging coming down here. We get the Mario Rabbids games, Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle and Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope. So then we see this is merging with a different timeline, which we see is actually the Rabbids timeline, which makes sense, but also the Rayman timeline. So if we come all the way up here, I'm going to go through all of these games and speed run them as well. Rayman Jr., Rayman 2 The Great Escape, Rayman 3 Hoodlum Havoc, Rayman Hoodlum's Revenge, Rayman Origins, Rayman Legends, Rayman M, Rayman Golf, Rayman Bowling, Rayman Bowling 2, Rayman Raving Rabbids, Rayman Raving Rabbids 2, Rayman Raving Rabbids TV Party, and Rayman Kart, Rayman Jungle Run, Rayman Fiesta Run, Rayman Adventures, and Rayman Mini. And this is the era of adventure, as well as the era of sport, and the era of adventure once again up here. So then if we come over here to the Rabbids timeline, we get some of these games, which I am also going to speedrun. Rabbids Go Home, Raving Rabbids Travel in Time, Rabbids Go Phone Again, Raving Rabbids Alive and Kicking, Rabbids Land, Rabbids Rumble, Rabbids Big Bang, Rabbids Invasion the Interactive TV Show, Rabbids Heroes, Rabbids Crazy Rush, Virtual Rabbids The Big Plan, Rabbids Coding, Rabbids Wild Race, Rabbids Volcano Panic, Rabbids at Versailles, and Rabbids Party of Legends. And if we come once again over here, that merges in with the Mario plus Rabbids games. So if we zoom out, we get a full view of this entire timeline. In episode 1, we went over an even larger timeline, so once again I want to remind you, if you have not, make sure to go back and watch that one, because there might be some of the games that I did not actually mention or go over in this timeline that you might want to see. They are likely in the other video, so make sure to check that out. So if you did enjoy today's video, make sure to drop a like down below and subscribe with the notifications bell on so that you can be notified of all of my future videos. As soon as they come out, I will have an episode 3 of this timeline as well, in which I will go over the Sonic timeline and the Sonic the Hedgehog series. So make sure to go check that out if it is out by the time you are watching this video. And with all of that said, I will see you guys in the next one.